Hello, this is Stampy, and welcome to another behind-the-scenes video. Today I am beginning designing my cookie restaurant. This is something that I've been planning to do for a very long time. I even mentioned it in a recent video where I think Fizzy... we were doing the meet and greet butcher shop, and Fizzy was replacing everything with cookies, and I was like, we'll do a cookie restaurant one day, and here we are. We are beginning the process of designing it. I don't know what's with my voice, by the way. I sound really croaky. I don't know why. I feel fine. I just started speaking and I feel croaky. So, yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, let's start designing it. So, I am at the very, very early stages. All I know is that I'm going to do a cookie restaurant, not a shop. I'm not going to be just selling cookies in a shop. I want it to be a proper restaurant. I built a whole new restaurant district, and there's only a few restaurants there. So, I need more restaurants. So, it's going to be a cookie restaurant. I'm going to have Fizzy involved in a big way somehow, of course, because Fizzy the elephant loves eating cookies. And all I really know is that we're going to have the color scheme orange and brown because it looks quite nice anyway, and it's the colors of cookies. Apart from that, I really have no idea exactly what it's going to be. I don't want to build a giant cookie. I don't want this to be the design. This isn't me working out the design. This was me just working out the materials. Like, do I want clay? Do I want wool? Or do I want the this is like a concrete powder? I think I want the wool for two reasons. One, I think it looks nice. Also, Fizzy Elephant loves building out of colorful wool, so that kind of makes sense there. So I think I'm going to be building out of those colors, but I don't just want to build a giant cookie. It's too obvious. I am always battling to avoid, like, I'm going to do a melon shop. Let's build a giant melon and do it inside. Like, it's just the most obvious thing that everyone does. So I'm going to go and try and come up with some sort of twist or something. So really, I don't have any ideas right now. Oh, I did have one idea I wrote down where I called it cookie catch. And I had the idea of, like, maybe cookies are flying around the place. You need to catch them or something. That might turn into something. That might end kind of right here, but I guess we're going to see. So, yeah, let me try and come up with much more of a start of a proper idea, and then we'll come back in, and I'll let you know what it is that I've been thinking of. Okay, I did some thinking, and I did some playing around, and I kept coming back to the name Cookie Crumble, which just sounds like a good name, and there's just lots of things that you could do playing around with, like cookies crumbling. So I built this thing. It doesn't work, so I didn't get too excited, but basically the idea was, imagine this purple line here is the outside wall. It wouldn't be purple, but the idea is that, like, it could almost be like a waterfall of cookie crumbs coming down the side, or maybe at certain points it would do it. And the idea was that this would push it up, then this would push it across, and then this would push it back here. I never actually ended up getting this working. Like, halfway through trying to work this thing out, I was like, no, this isn't the idea. This isn't where I want to go. So I then moved on to this. And the idea of this one was something kind of similar, where the idea is the outside wall might be something kind of similar to this here. The reason I went back to using the concrete powder was basically because they fall. They basically have gravity, just like sand and gravel. And I had the idea of maybe like random blocks would get set off. So these would go and get pushed out, and then just blocks would fall down as if they're crumbs. And then I was like, but then we need to fill in these blocks here, and how's that going to work? And I was like, no, this isn't the idea either. So then I came up with an idea which I think is going to look better anyway, and also have like a more practical use for the way the restaurant's going to work. So I had the idea of kind of similar to this. You can kind of see the train of thought, but instead of it pushing out blocks, the crumbs could be actual cookies. So I noticed that if you put a dispenser facing up against a block and it gets set off, it kind of just flies through the block. It's like almost as if the block isn't there. I tried it with the concrete powder. I then tried it with wool as well, because I kind of went back to that idea, and it worked. So here's kind of the idea as I'm thinking of it right now. I'm thinking rather than the outside walls, these should be the inside walls. And then maybe at a certain random time, maybe it's when Fizzy pulls a lever, a bunch of cookies fly out of the wall, and then everyone needs to run and try and grab them. I guess it kind of goes back to the cookie catch idea as well. So yeah, that's kind of the idea as it is at the moment. I think it's fun. It's a fun twist on a restaurant. Like, I like the idea that you can't order. Like, in a restaurant, everyone kind of takes it for granted. You go in, you ask for what you want, and then they bring it to you. I like the idea of Fizzy thinking that, no, that's boring. We're going to shake things up. We're going to do it my way. And maybe you'll think it's a silly way to do it, but it's a more fun way of doing it. And so I kind of think that Fizzy sees the world a little bit differently to the way that we do. And this might have been the kind of idea that he would have come up with, I guess, as a way to put it. So let me just see if it works on ceilings. Oh, does it not work on ceilings? Oh, the cookie's gone. Oh, is this the cookie? Did the cookie make its way out? Let me try and press it and watch really fast. Oh, Ah, no. Like, I think it might have just fallen over the edge. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be a wall thing only. I mean, of course, we could do it. I don't want to do it so you can see the dispenser. I want it to look like you are basically inside of a cookie, and then like everything just kind of happens. Like the cookies just kind of come out the walls as if it is cookies like crumbling, like the cookies are the crumbs. The ceiling idea, yeah, maybe we can't do the ceilings. The floor shouldn't be a problem. I think there's going to be two ways. I think the floor might just work in the way the walls work. If not, I could use a carpet as well. And I'm pretty sure it would be able to go for a carpet if it can't go for a block. But let's go and try out the floor. The other good thing about this is it means that, you know, I said I didn't want to build a giant cookie shape. That stands true. I still don't want to build a giant cookie shape. So it means I could have different walls on the outside to the inside, because I'm going to be hiding all of the redstone and the dispensers in here. But let me just go and do a quick experiment to see if this is going to work. Are the cookies going to fly through? Oh, yes, they did. Okay, it took a little while, but the cookies did go through. So at the moment, it looks like it can be coming through the walls and the floor. And of course, we could do the dispensers right at the very top of the wall, so they are kind of flying down from the sky as well. I think that could be fun. Maybe it could be there's different sections where the cookies come out of, so you don't know where they're going to come out from every time. Maybe we could make a game out of it. But I think as a general concept, that's a pretty good idea. I think I like that, and that fits kind of the style of the restaurant pretty well. So yeah, let me go and carry on developing it a little bit more. Maybe plan a little bit more what this space is going to actually look like, and then yeah, I'll come back in and show you what I came up with. Okay, I think I've taken a few steps down the road of kind of working out what this thing is going to be like. I kind of went straight into kind of planning what it's going to look like. It's funny because like, I generally like doing these behind-the-scenes videos for the mini-games because they tend to change a lot more. And normally one of the last things I think about for the mini-games is what it's going to actually look like. But with the shops, it's much more about what it looks like. That's why I don't care too much about what the mini-games look like, because the shops and kind of the restaurants and whatever else, you know, buildings are kind of, I'm mad about what they look like. So I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking right now. I don't know, maybe you're not thinking this, but I know what you should be thinking. You're thinking, Stampy, you started this video saying you didn't want to build a giant cookie. This looks a lot like a giant cookie. In fact, the dimensions are exactly the same as a cookie inside of Minecraft. But, you are wrong, because from the outside, it will not look like a giant cookie. So the idea is that the outside, I don't know what the outside's going to look like. Maybe it could look like a box of cookies. Maybe it could look like Fizzy Elephant. Maybe it could look like a giraffe or that's surfing. I don't know. I don't know what the outside's going to look like. I haven't put a single bit of thought into it. But I like the idea of the outside not looking like a cookie, but then you enter through here. Maybe this could kind of be a tunnel going forward like this. Maybe it'll be a different color kind of leading up to the cookie. But once you get inside, then it looks like you're inside of a giant cookie. I like the idea of that. And then this is, as I said, the exact dimensions of a cookie, in case you're wondering how big it is. Of course, it's a lot taller because cookies are pretty flat otherwise. And yeah, I kind of rolled with the idea that I had before with the cookie crumble, where things would kind of fly out. It didn't work with carpets, by the way. I did do an experiment with carpets, and it didn't work. Basically, you don't need to know why. It didn't work. And so I've played around with the idea of having it so that you're in here, and apart from the ceiling, as we established, doesn't work. I know why it doesn't work, by the way, because when a block gets pushed inside of another block, and this is something that I should have known because it's something I played around with before, it always tries to escape by going up, and that's why the glass elevators and recycle Michael and stuff worked. So that's the reason why it doesn't work. The floor is glowstone, which is why it's nicely lit up in here, even though there are no torches. And then behind all of the brown, where the chocolate chips are, that's where the droppers are. I thought I'd use droppers rather than dispensers because it doesn't really make much difference either way. So that's where they're all going to be. And I've been working out what's going to set them all off. I kind of like the idea of maybe it's just Fizzy presses a button, or maybe it's when someone enters. It doesn't really matter when it's set off, but I've been trying to work out a streamlined way to have them all get set off, because there's not much room here, and to have like a bunch of redstone going to them all, it'd be doable, but it'd be like really awkward. Like imagine like if it's coming from like the top here, we'd have to kind of go down and link to this one and link to that one. It would be a bit of a mess of redstone. And what I had the idea of doing is maybe using these little guys, these little robot faces, the observer blocks. And the way these work, I don't really know the intricacies of everything that they do, but it seems to be basically anytime a block changes in front of them, they get set off. So for example, if some water goes past it, it fires out a cookie. And that gave me the idea of possibly doing it so that water gets like dropped down, and then it goes down, and then that sets off the observers. So as the water kind of goes over them, has that one gone over it? I think it has. That should have then gone and, fingers crossed, there you go. It's gone and fired out the cookies. And I thought that might be an easier way to do the redstone. So I'd have like another wall just on the other side here so the water wouldn't spill everywhere. And then maybe I could do it so that there's a dispenser up at the top here, or maybe it could even be like a few of them. Like maybe I could have like yeah, it would need to be a dispenser, not a dropper for this one. So maybe it could be like a dropper, a dispenser, sorry, here, and I guess one at the front as well. And then you press one button, and then that goes and like sets all of these off. Let's just give this like a little bit of an early test to go, shall we? And let's just see if this is going to work at all. Like the tricky thing is I need to make sure that it would go past every single observer block. Otherwise it just wouldn't work at all. So I guess like all I'd need to do is add more dispensers, which wouldn't be much of a problem. Like even if it got to a point where like I add a line of dispensers along the side here, that could work. And then there's always things that you can do, like playing around with the shape of the blocks to make them spread out more if you need to. So let's just give this a bit of a go then with the way that it is, and let's see if this is going to work at all. So let's just see how many cookies fly into the room when I go and set off this redstone. So that's that all set off. That should be all the water coming out. And oh, okay, we got a few cookies on this side. And that's all we have. So how's the water going? So yeah, water can be a little bit funny with the way that it goes. Oh, wait a minute. I know why. I haven't added in the observer blocks on this side either. But I think there might be a smart way that I can do this just to make sure that the water does go and spread all of them. And that way it means that I don't really need to add any redstone, and I always try and avoid redstone as much as possible. Like a lot of the time I need it just for the stuff I do, but I know the second I start doing redstone, there's a whole bunch of people watching that won't rebuild what I'm doing or do their own version of it or get inspired by it just because they're scared of redstone. Just the look of redstone terrifies them, and I understand that. I used to be in that boat as well. But maybe doing something with these funny little robot faces and it's just literally 2 blocks next to each other, even if it's not the most efficient way of doing it, it's a cool, interesting way of doing it, and it gives me a chance to show off how observer blocks works. And I'm always trying to kind of show something new when I'm designing one of these things. So I think I'm gonna continue with this route. So I'm going to put in all of these observer blocks. I'm going to try and link this up so it works and works out how the water's going to be. I'll come back in and show you it when it's all working properly. And then we can kind of start thinking about, is there going to be anything else inside of it other than the giant cookie room? Maybe I'll leave it like this. I think that could be quite funny. And then, of course, I need to start thinking about what the outside of this place is going to look like as well. Okay, just a quick update. I just thought I'd show you that it kind of works now. Well, it actually probably work. So I did realize one thing. So under the ground, I had put a bunch of dispensers. I realized that my whole water mechanism wouldn't really... Actually, it could kind of work. Maybe if I had them like pointing down. But anyway, ignore that. Don't worry about that. So I've decided not to have them coming from the floor anyway, because it doesn't really matter, because the whole thing is it's like cookies crumbling, and if they're just popping out of the ground, it just doesn't seem as cool as if they're kind of flying out the side. So what I've done on the top here, I've just put like a circle of dispensers around the outside, simple trail of redstone, just linking them all together, and then the water will kind of bounce down and go over all of the observers. I had to like add a few other little random blocks here and there just to kind of make sure the water flows where it needs to go. But it's all very simple. It's something that I could very easily do in the video and kind of improvise. And that's very good for me. The easier it is, the better it is for me. So now if I come in here, I press the button and... Cookies! Cookies! Cookie crumble! Look at the cookies! That's cool, isn't it? Just you press a button and then cookies come from everywhere. You get a few drips coming down the ceiling as well here and there, but you can just go and press it again and then that's going to turn it all off. So I like that. I don't know whether I am going to do it so... Oh, what's going on? The cookies are still coming. Why are the cookies still coming? I just thought I'd turn the water off. Maybe, like, as the water went, it kind of knocked a few more of them. That doesn't matter too much. But, yeah, so I don't know if I am going to do it as a button in the ceiling, though. Like, I like the idea of people just chilling out in this room, and they have no idea when it's going to happen. So maybe... I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe there could be like a hidden button on the outside. It'd be very simple to link up redstone from pretty much anywhere. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. If it comes down to it, I can have it as a button on the ceiling. But I kind of like the idea of the people in the restaurant have no control over when there's going to be a bunch of cookies thrown at them. I think that's just funny. And I think Fizzy would find that funny. So, yeah, I think maybe... Oh, I broke away the button. I didn't mean to break away the button. Oh, yeah, so maybe I should move this and have it just somewhere hidden or have some other more random event which will go and set all of the cookies off. But for now, I'm going to go completely to focusing on outside mode. Now I know like how high I can build up to and how wide I can build up to. I'm going to go and try and start thinking about what the outside of this restaurant's going to be. And at the moment, I really have no idea. So yeah, let's see what I come up with, I guess. Okay, just had a big shake up with the idea for this shop. Those of you that have seen me build this in my lovely world already are probably well aware of what it is that I'm about to, I guess, come up with the idea for. So originally, I assumed that this would be like any of my other shops where, you know, you'd enter inside of it and, you know, you get the food and leave. And I've been trying to decide what the outside would be like. And I found the idea funny that this is Fizzy Elephant's restaurant, and he doesn't want any customers because the more customers he attracts, the more cookies they're going to eat, which means the less cookies for him. So I had the idea of building just a really boring outside of the building. I thought would be quite funny for that story. I then realized that the problem with that is it would mean that I have a really boring looking building in the world. And even though when you know the story, it will be quite funny. Kind of like the toy shop I did where it's like an ugly building with like a cool little town underneath. So I kind of scrapped that idea, but then I came up with what I think, hopefully, is an even better idea. So instead of just making the whole shop look boring, I had the idea to do it underground. So imagine that this is ground level here, like this, just enough to cover up the redstone, and you'd enter the shop underneath here, and then you'd go inside like this, and then this is where all the cookies are going to come from. Pretty simple. And then I was like, okay, well, we need an entranceway. What's the entrance going to be? And I was like, I could do it hidden, maybe under a tree. No, I did that for my melon tree. Like, what could be here? And then I came up with the idea to do another fake shop above this shop, which only sells beetroots. So it looks like a shop that sells beetroots. Even though the shop can look hopefully pretty cool, depending on what I come up with, it's a shop that sells beetroots. No one is going to enter a shop that only sells beetroots. And I'm sorry if you're watching this thinking I love eating beetroots, but no one, I can promise you, in my lovely world is going to be eager to go inside of a beetroot shop. They would much rather go inside of a cookie shop. So yeah, I then had to think about, right, how are we going to hide the entrance? So I've been looking up at kind of cool hidden entranceways, and I came across this one, which I thought was pretty interesting. Rather than kind of using, you know, buttons or levers or something, it basically uses a cauldron. So imagine this is my standard beetroot shop. I have a cauldron here. If I take the water out of it, then the cauldron gets pulled back, and then going down here would be me entering the cookie shop. And then to put it back, I just go and put the water down here. The redstone's not too important. It's pretty simple. Just a comparator kind of coming from the water to detect if it's there. And then here, when the water's put back in, this comparator will light up, which basically lights up the redstone to put the pistons out again. Could not be simpler. I will get that redstone done in like 20 seconds inside of my lovely world. So that's all simple. So I like that idea. I think I'm set on it. Unless there's anything worse than beetroots I can think of. Like, I mean, I could do like poisonous potatoes or something, but I think it's got to be beetroots. I think that's like the most boring food. Not even beetroot stew. Just beetroots by themselves. I think that's just funny. It could be like a beetroot boutique, like a troutique beach. Okay, maybe I need to work on the name a little bit, but I think that would be really funny. So now I need to begin designing a brand new shop, I guess. So seeing as we are further from the finishing line than I thought I was, I think I'm going to split this into a two-parter because it's yeah, taking quite a while to design. And oh, one other thing. I realized that the whole point of this water observer idea was to make it so that the walls don't need to be too thick and to make the redstone easier. Now we're building it underground. And that doesn't matter anymore. That just doesn't matter at all. So I think I might just scrap the whole water observer block idea. I know I spent a lot of time working it out and it would have been cool. And I will use observer blocks in the future. But I think I should just do like normal trails of redstone, seeing as I have like basically endless room underground. It's really no problem. So yeah, I'm probably just going to change this to normal redstone as well. But yeah, that's all to come in the future. So I'll leave a link down in the description to the next episode where I guess the main focus from now on will be designing my troutique. Yeah, I really need to work on that name. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and fingers crossed, I'll see you in the next one. So, bye!